I want to talk about a group that Donald Trump has really made inroads with, and that's Latino voters, particularly Latino men. Just this past weekend, though, at an MSG rally Trump had, a comedian made what he called a joke about Puerto Rico. He called it a floating island of garbage. When you're thinking about states that have a heavy Puerto Rican population, Pennsylvania, 3.5% of the population over that is Puerto Rican. As we know, Pennsylvania is one of the most important states in this election. How badly do you think this blunder hurt Trump?
Well, I would say you hit the nail in the head in the sense that this will matter or could potentially matter in tightly contested states like Pennsylvania, but not so much nationally. And actually, when it comes to Hispanics, as you mentioned, Trump is winning Hispanic men 51% to Harris's 43%. So he's up 8 points with them. But Harris is doing very well with Hispanic women, 59% to 35%. So one of the areas that Trump could grow is with Hispanic women. And it's less about a comment on Puerto Rico because most Hispanic voters, they're not from Puerto Rico, and Hispanic voters or Latino voters, they're not monolithic, right? I mean, Cuban American voters behave very differently than Hispanic or Latino voters in the middle of Florida, and that's just the difference within one state. If you extrapolate it throughout the Sun Belt, it's very that you see a lot of difference and a lot of variance. But what we see in our polling is that Trump is narrowing the gap all with Hispanics. A month ago, Harris was winning Hispanics by 20 points. Right now, overall, she wins Hispanics by about 10 points, 52% to 42%. And that is an incredible performance for a Republican candidate with Hispanics. And, he's also doing well with black voters, right? Trump is consistently polling between 20 and 25% with black voters, which would mean that he's outperforming his actual voting percentage in 2020 by 2.5x. In our survey, he's at 24% to Harris's 71%. And this is a big liability for Kamala Harris as she heads down the home stretch, knowing also that black voters tend to vote the day of the election more so than early.
When we're looking at a race this tight, everything really does matter. And on Tuesday night, President Biden called Trump supporters garbage. He said it was a gaffe. It did not sound like a gaffe because he paused. But do you think that rises to the level of Hillary Clinton's deplorable comment? Do you think this will have any impact on the election? What does that look like?
Well, it's definitely not helpful. And again, it's not helpful with the couch potato voters. It's not helpful with regards to Trump's base, which tends to, as we said, skew lower income, lower education, more white, and these are the people that have been kind of singled out as being the deplorables, quote unquote, before by Democratic political figures. And it doesn't help with independent voters. They don't like that kind of a rhetoric. They don't like heated rhetoric, period. So this is where we see an interesting dynamic here, which is the 16% who still haven't made up their mind. They're swing voters. And also the voters who are unsure and on the fence, which are still around 8%. Trump is winning the don't know unsure vote 37% to 32%. So he's picking up vote share as he goes into election day. Independents are functionally tied. He has 43% support amongst independents. Harris has about 46% support amongst independents, with the rest being split with the third party candidates. And sure, a comment like that can matter. And again, the big sort of insight in the study is that 16% are still swing voters. So there could still be an October surprise between now and Tuesday that helps make up their mind or helps galvanize these voters, and they switch, and they could vote for one side when they were intending to vote for the other.